Hi Sea Campers, my name is Josette, and today we're going to be talking about mammals and what exactly makes up a marine mammal. So get excited guys, woo! So I want you guys to start thinking of some mammals that you guys are familiar with. So maybe you have a dog or a cat at home, like I have Kai over here. She's my little girl. So she's a mammal, right? So maybe you're more familiar with cows and horses, or maybe even elephants or zebras, giraffes, you name it. Just think of any kind of mammal that you're most familiar with. So once you get your animal in mind, you got one? Alright, so once you have an animal in mind, I want you to start thinking about what's common with your animal to other mammals. So keeping these animals in mind, we're going to be talking about 5 characteristics that these animals have in common that make them a mammal. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the 5 characteristics that make up a mammal. The very first characteristic of a mammal is that at some point in their life, they have hair. So think about dolphins. Has anybody ever actually touched a dolphin before? Those of you that have, do you feel any hair on them? I would think not. So they feel more rubbery and kind of slimy, and you don't see a thing of hair on them at all. But fun fact, at the very beginning of their life, when they're first born, dolphins actually do have a teeny tiny bit of hair on their rostrum, or in other words, their chin, that falls off as they get older. One example of a marine mammal that has hair is the sea otter. So look at those cute little faces. Yes, sea otters are marine mammals. These guys actually have the densest fur out of all mammals. Not just marine mammals, but mammals in general. They actually have close to 1 million hairs per square inch on their body. So if you think whales, dolphins, walruses, all of these guys have blubber that keep them super warm. Well, sea otters rely on their hair density to keep them warm. So it's kind of like wearing a down fur, like kind of fur coat. The next characteristic of a mammal is that they are viviparous. So that big, huge word, viviparous, means that they give birth to live young. Like I said, all mammals are viviparous, meaning that they give birth to live young. So here is an example of a mother dolphin swimming with her newly born calf. The third characteristic of a mammal is that all mothers have mammary glands. This means that the mother is able to nurse their young with milk. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. How are these animals able to nurse their young with milk in an environment that is solely water? It is possible. So here's an example actually of a manatee. So if you know anything about manatees, they swim in super shallow waters. So most marine mammals have their mammary glands towards the bottom of their body. So that means that the calf has to actually go underneath the mother to nurse. Well, manatees live in such shallow water that this is not always possible for the baby to get up underneath the mother. So, a little fun fact, manatees have their mammary glands in their armpit. So here in this photo, you actually see the calf suckling and nursing on the mammary glands that are located right there in that little armpit. So it looks like the baby is just kind of nipping and biting the mother, but in fact, it's actually nursing. Isn't that cute? So the fourth characteristic of a mammal is that they are endothermic. So this is another big word for you guys. So endothermic just means that they can regulate their own body temperature without relying on their external environment. Here's an example of an endothermic marine mammal, the walrus. So you're probably looking at this guy and thinking, holy moly, this dude is huge. Well, in fact, he just has a ton of blubber. So along with their metabolism, they use blubber to help control their body temperature. How cool is that? And last but not least, the fifth characteristic of a mammal is that they breathe air from lungs. Unlike fish who use their gills to get oxygen from the water, mammals use their lungs to get oxygen from the air. So in this picture, you actually see a dolphin coming up to the surface of the water to breathe in air using their lungs. So in this picture, you actually see a little spout of water coming out from their blowhole. That's actually them exhaling, so breathing out. So they do that right before they inhale and go back underwater. So if those are the characteristics that make mammals in general, then what makes marine mammals so unique? A marine mammal is a mammal that has adapted to an aquatic lifestyle that allows them to spend part, if not all of their life in the ocean. Some of these adaptations include like dolphins and whales having lost their hind limbs and developing a fluke instead that allows them to swim more efficiently. Sea lions and seals have developed a dive reflex that allows them to dive to super deep depth. And most marine mammals have developed blubber that keeps them warm in cold aquatic habitat. So mammals are considered marine mammals when their adaptations allow them to rely on the ocean for their habitat and their food. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about marine mammals. I know I did. So I challenge you guys to start thinking about ways that mammals that you see every day and that y'all are super familiar with, how these guys are similar and common to marine mammals. Bye, sea campers. Hope y'all are having a wonderful summer.